After years of planning, controversy, and numerous legal challenges, congestion pricing is officially here. More than 1,400 cameras are in place at 110 detection points.
And joining us now with more on this hotly debated plan that still faces legal challenges is Sarah Kaufman, director of the NYU Rudin Center for Transportation. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
All right, day one on a Monday, actually implementing this. So what do you think of the rollout so far?
Well, so far the technology has worked. It's a question of whether it's actually reducing traffic. It's hard to know. It was snowing today, and it is the first day back for many people from the new year. So it's hard to tell at this point. I think we'll have more of a sense as the days and the weeks proceed.
Yeah, probably later in the week when we start to get into that routine and that norm for everybody. Do you see areas where this can be tweaked? Because already I'm hearing Queensboro Bridge on the upper level, you get charged, or you don't get charged lower level, you do. I mean, so where are the areas where people are already finding workarounds?
Yeah, so people are finding workarounds by going from the Brooklyn Bridge onto the FDR Drive North and then taking side routes to get to their destinations. I do think that there may be room for tweaks later on as we see what's working and what isn't.
I think a lot of people are concerned about the cost, but I want to go back to a report that you authored earlier this year, which basically said that in order for the MTA to be fully accessible, it all hinged on congestion pricing. So maybe I missed it, but in this report, there was nothing about, fixing fare beaters, which cost the MTA $700 million a year.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up. And actually, that report was focused on installing more elevators in subway stations, which is certainly a resource that we need. In terms of fare beaters, yes, that is an issue that needs to be solved throughout the subway system.
Any recommendations on when that can be fixed?
Hopefully with the installation of new turnstiles that are harder to jump over or otherwise defeat, we will have more people who will pay the fare and are unable to jump over or crawl underneath.
We have been hearing about exemptions, which there aren't many. And so nearly 300 FDNY emergency medical service workers are threatening to leave Midtown and the lower Manhattan, saying that they're getting a financial burden from this congestion pricing. So what's your thoughts on these exemptions?
Well, I do think that exemptions are a slippery slope because so many different groups would like to have exemptions for congestion pricing. And so I think that as London saw, the more that they offered exemptions to different groups, the less it reduced traffic coming into the city center. So I think that we have to be very careful about how can we still meet our goals while also accommodating people who need to be accommodated.
These goals might not even be met with the incoming president, who has already vowed to dismantle this whole thing. What is the likelihood of that happening? Does he even have the power to do this?
He would have to take this to federal court, which would be a long and onerous process. I imagine that he has other things on his mind as well. And I imagine that while he may do that, what's more likely will be some compromises between, say, New York and New Jersey to make it a better process for states to work together.
All right, well, we'll have to see how this actually works, how this fares later in the week. But Sarah, we appreciate you coming in. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.